tutti, I'm your host Rossella and welcome to Cooking with Nonna. And today I have the lovely
Carmen, Nonna Carmen.
And tell everybody where you're from.
Coming from Milano, Italy, Lombardia, North Italy.
So let's take a minute and take a closer look at Nonna Carmen.
Well, I grew up in Italy, Milano, Lombardia, and I grew up during the war. But I grew up with my parents. I'm the oldest child and I have another sister. That's it. No more kids. I was 10 years old when I started to cook by myself. I want to surprise my parents and I made the minestrone. What minestrone means is a kind of soup, but you put all kind of vegetable, and then you can put a special kind of beans where it's hard to find it over here. They're fresh. So I made a good minestrone. So my parents, when they came home, they were surprised. I like to cook everything. But what I love to cook is, of course, beef from Milan is polenta. And it's a lot of way to make polenta. So I did my invention. I'm making polenta pizza, which is delicious. I like to cook. First I like to eat, and then it's my passion. I have passion to cook. My mind, when I'm sitting, even looking for something, my mind is working, and I'm thinking about the kitchen. I say, oh, I'm going over there and I'm doing this, and this, whatever I have in the refrigerator, and come out a nice meal. But I love to cook. That's my passion.
So, what are we going to make today?
Today we are making ossobuco.
Ossobuco alla Milanese.
Well, ossobuco alla Milanese.
So, I'm really excited. So, let's get started. What's the first thing we're going to do?
You got to cut a little bit of the onion, half onion.
So we're going to take a small onion, and we're only going to
You
use
mince
half.
it.
And mince it. The way you taught me, right?
And when you mince the onion, you can put the butter.
Okay, I'm going to add just about 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to start melting. And I'm using a technique to cut onions the way Nonna Carmen taught me. And I just made 2 horizontal incisions like that. And then I'm going to run through it, making some vertical cuts, and then I'm just going to run my knife through. And why are we making our onions so small? Why are we doing such a fine mince on this?
Why are we making the onion so small? Because when you eat it, you don't have a piece of onion in your mouth. And then it's nice because when you're cooking, they're coming nice and translucent. So it's much better. The taste comes much better.
They're really going to become a part of our sauce, which is so special. Scoop everything up and add it to our butter. So what are we going to do next?
Now next you take the ossobuco and you cut the part here where is all the skin. So when it's cooking, doesn't get all together.
So I'm going to start prepping the ossobuco. And this is a veal shank with the bone still inside it. And as you can see, there's bone marrow inside. And the bone marrow is eaten, actually. It's a part of the meal. But if you can see, there's this translucent white piece of skin around the veal. And we're going to cut that just so it doesn't get all curly and bunched up when we put it in our pan and add heat to it. It's going to let the veal open up. Now the great part about ossobuco is that it becomes so tender when you cook it, you don't even need a knife to cut it. It kind of falls off the bone. And cutting the white skin helps that because it won't be so tight and together. It'll be allowed to be loose. Okay, so our ossobuco is prepped. So what are we going to do next?
Now, while I saute this, you can drench that with the flowers. You put some salt and fresh ground pepper.
So we're gonna add some salt. And fresh black pepper. And I'm gonna give this a quick whisk with a fork.
Okay.
Make sure that's all combined. And Nonna said we are going to dredge each veal shank evenly. Great. Just gonna set that aside. So what's next?
Now we have to take the onion out and put the meat.
We're gonna transfer our onions.
Yes.
And do that. Okay, so what are we gonna put in next?
We put another little bit of butter.
So we're gonna add another tablespoon of butter.
And then you put the meat.
Now we're gonna add our meat. One at a time.
You can use the fork.
No fork, right? So
No.
we're gonna use tongs
The
instead.
tongue, because you make, if you pierce it, all the juice comes out.
Ooh, we don't want that.
So we gotta let it sit there for a while. Nice, has to be nice and gold, the meat, on both sides.
Let's see. Oh yeah, that's nice. It's a nice color. So you can give it a quick turn. And you're just browning them at first.
Yes.
That looks really good. So what's the next thing we're gonna do?
Now the next thing, you gotta put back the onions.
Okay, so we can add our onions back in.
Now, if the meat is already on the other side, we can.
Okay, so we're gonna turn one more time.
Yeah, you check.
So what's next?
Now you can add the wine.
Gonna add some wine. And how much wine?
I put a cup.
Cup of white wine.
A white dry wine.
Or you can use a white dry wine.
Now you scrape it a little bit.
Scrape what?
The bottom, see that brown stuff?
Ah,
It's
the
coming up.
brown
That is the
stuff.
best.
That's the best,
The best of the meat.
if you say
Give
so.
the flavors.
All right, so I think I scraped all of our stuff.
Okay, now let the alcohol go out. You know, get evaporate.
So how do you know when the alcohol has fully
You smell
evaporated?
it. You smell it.
You can smell. Wonderful. Oh,
So you don't smell anymore.
you don't smell
Smell it.
anymore, and the sauce is getting really thick.
Now you can add the broth.
Now we're gonna add some broth. And how much broth do you think this is?
Probably a cup and a cup and a half, maybe.
Cup and a half. And we're using beef broth because this is veal. You can use vegetable broth if you want a little bit of a more mild flavor, but we're using beef because it's appropriate with veal. And what do we do next?
Now the next, you let it boil,
Mm-hmm.
and then you let it simmer
Right.
till it's cooked for an hour and a half.
An hour and a half. Yeah,
It's
okay.
nice and tender.
It better be after an hour and a half. So while we do that, I'm gonna move this over, and we are actually gonna start our mushrooms, which are amazing and delicious and so full of flavor. So I'm gonna grab this pan, and we're gonna start getting it nice and hot right away. And what are we gonna add? Oil or butter? Both?
Just oil.
Just
Just
oil.
oil. Quite a bit of oil because mushrooms absorb. Okay.
Okay, good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Looks good.
So, we're going to start by using some portobello mushrooms, some baby portobello mushrooms. And these have already been cleaned and prepped for us. But I'm going to show you how Nonna Carmen cleans hers and chops hers. And she says that mushrooms should never go under running water. How do you
No.
feel about that?
because mushroom has already a lot of water. If you put it under the water, it's getting more, it's like a sponge, absorb more water, and when you cook it, you get water all over.
Our mushrooms are all cleaned, and we're just going to cut them into quarters. And if they're very small, you can keep them in halves, but these are a little bit larger. And that is so quick and easy. We're gonna dump in the rest of our mushrooms. Nonna, you want me to go to work? You want to do it?
No, I do the work.
Okay.
You do the tasting.
That's what I like to do. How do you know when these mushrooms are really done, though?
Well, when you see the white is getting dark, then you know it's almost done.
So what do we do next? These mushrooms look dark.
Now
and
the dark is ready to have the wine.
some more wine. And how much more wine is that, my lady?
I put a cup.
A cup. Get another cup of white dry wine. Good. What do we do next?
Now next you gotta prepare the gremolata.
Now, a gremolata, when she first told me about this, I thought it was cremolata, which is ice cream, and it's not. I'm a little disappointed. But I guess this is fine too. And a gremolata is a mixture of herbs, particularly rosemary, lemon peel, and fresh sage, and a little bit of parsley. So I'm going to start zesting one lemon. We have our trusty lemon zester. How much zest is in this, Nonna?
But I have a lemon.
Half a lemon.
Yeah.
And we got some garlic. So how do you like to do the garlic? You like to
The
crush?
garlic, you crush it.
You crush it.
If you want to give a punch to someone, get the garlic. There.
There you go. Now all the garlic's natural juices get released by doing this. I'm going to keep that in there. We have some fresh sage. Smells so wonderful. And fresh rosemary. Now, no, you don't put it all in like this. You have to clean it off, right? So you're going to go strand by strand. So I'm going to add some parsley, and then we are ready to rock and roll. Now this gremolata has to be chopped up so fine because it's going into a sauce.
Yes.
So our gremolata is all finished. So what's going on with our mushrooms, Nonna?
Now the mushrooms, when the juice is almost gone, then you turn it off, put it on the side, and when the ossobuco is ready, then we use the gremolata. Okay, if you want to taste it, if the salt is okay, if we add it, if you want to add some pepper.
That actually tastes perfect.
Okay.
So our mushrooms look done, and we're just going to move them off to the side. And we are ready to bring back our ossobuco. Yay! So let's see what happened. Wow, those look great.
Looks like they're ready.
Ready they are. Okay. We are ready to plate these. So, if you will. And you want to serve them the marrow side up. Nice. Okay.
Now
And
you can
we're
put the
ready.
gremolata.
We're going to add our gremolata. And the gremolata only takes about 2 or 3 minutes.
Just
I know you
kidding.
can't wait. And we're going to start by scooping up some of our wonderful mushrooms. Okay, so...
Okay.
Okay. And our gremolata looks so thick.
Yeah. And I think it's ready.
It's ready. You say it's ready, I believe you. Wow, and this was actually really quick and easy. Wow.
Okay.
So we're just gonna add a little bit more parsley, of course, at the end because it's everywhere.
A little bit around. And the ossobuco is done.
So I can't wait to taste this.
So do I.
Okay, so I'm gonna get a nice piece of mushroom too.
Cooked perfect.
That is delicious. I can see why this is the most famous dish in Lombardia, and amazing, really.
All the flavor of the wine and everything. Right in there.
Well, it's a lot of things, I think, but thank you for making it with me, and thank you for being my nonna.
Thank you for inviting me, and it was my pleasure.
Ciao!
Ciao.